Veterans advocate now joining us is the founder of the Endeavor PAC, Tiffany Smiley. It's always good to have Tiffany on the show. Usually, Tiffany, we're talking about politics, but I'm happy to have a different conversation with you today. And just for people to know, and you'd be better to tell the story than I would, people got to know Tiffany Smiley because of your husband, right? Scott Smiley. Tell us his story. He was injured, and then the two of you have done a lot of terrific work for veterans of the Army and the armed services in general. Tell us the story.
Yes, well, thank you, Connell. And, really service encompasses the whole family. There's just a small percentage of Americans that actually served in the armed forces. So I love seeing this parade and this national presentation of the Army and a celebration of the 250th birthday of the Army, so others can learn about it as well. My husband was blinded in Iraq by a suicide car bomb. And his world didn't just blow up into a million pieces, but mine did as well. I resigned from my nursing job. I took a one-way flight out to Walter Reed Army Medical Center, like thousands of other families had to do during the war on terror. And I didn't know if I was going to meet Scotty dead or alive. That's how bad it was. You don't know what condition you're going to greet them in. But being a nurse, I had the advocacy and the training. I knew how to stand up and fight for him. And I had to do that at every single turn. I had to take on the DOD. I had to take on the VA for my husband, refusing to sign paperwork. I believed that there had to be a better pathway in how, as a country, we were treating our disabled or our service members who were catastrophically injured. At the time, I didn't know it would go on to impact thousands, hundreds of other catastrophically injured veterans. But it goes to show how important service and sacrifice is in this country, and how important it is to stand up and use our voices for those that don't have one, to stand up for what's right. So my husband went on and became the first blind active duty officer to ever serve our country. And while I was in Walter Reed, Connell, it was extremely overwhelming. I think especially being a healthcare worker and seeing the lives that were devastated and the families that were coming in with their service members being injured. And I made a promise to myself that I knew I could help Scotty, but that someday I would come back and I would make it right for everyone else. So I spent a good part of my career going to Capitol Hill, fighting for veterans, working with the VA, working with the President of the United States, Donald Trump, in his first term, to make sure that we enacted laws, policies, and procedures that actually serve our service members and their families. We still have a lot of work to do, but certainly our story is one of thousands.
What about that process and all of those efforts? What would you say about where we are now? You mentioned we have a lot of work to do, but are we getting better in this country at the way we treat our veterans?
I would like to say we are. President Trump certainly put a dent in it, in the pathway forward. But as we know, getting anything passed through Congress can be a very daunting task. There are archaic laws that are in the books that are really hard to get anyone to get up and move on if there's not some sort of incentive for the Congress person in the long run. So it's about constantly, pounding the pavement and continuing to use our voice. President Trump did considerable, amazing amount of work on veteran choice. So a veteran can choose to go to a doctor around the corner down the street versus driving miles or spending days or weeks just to get to a doctor's appointment, and really, pushing and getting out there telemedicine for our veterans. So while those are all really good steps and really good pathways forward, we have a long ways to go. I was talking with a former Israeli soldier just a couple days ago, a good friend who now lives here in the United States. And it's just remarkable how they are treated in Israel. There's a patriotism, and the country truly takes care of their warriors to a level that America should try to emulate and model. So we have a long ways to go, but I have no doubt that under President Trump and the future that we will be able to start to turn things around and make what's wrong right within the VA. There's a lot of bureaucracy, layers of bureaucracy. There's a lot of archaic systems that just simply don't work. When you think of government bureaucracy, one of the number one agencies is the VA.
What about today and tonight? What do you think it means? As you know, everything in this country, and it's a kind of the conversation we've been having, unfortunately, because of what's in the news today, can be divisive. And this parade is no exception. There have been people say we shouldn't do it and all. What does today and tonight mean to someone like you?
I mean, I kind of touched on it in the beginning, Connell. It's truly remarkable. I think it's amazing, and we need to showcase the sacrifice and the legacy and the history of who we are in this country. That nothing is for free. That freedom that we have is because of sacrifice, is because of soldiers and families who have fought a hard battle. Some haven't even returned, and have done it under our flag. So I think it's awesome to showcase, just like when I was talking with that former Israeli soldier, he mentioned, he said, I don't think the vast amount of Americans truly understand what our military does and truly understand what the sacrifice is. So this is an opportunity for, honestly, the world to see who we are, to showcase our strength and our lethality and our numbers. 6,000 soldiers will be in uniform and marching today, and President Trump will be swearing in re-enlistments. I hope it's a good recruiting tool, and I hope more Americans see the value and the patriotism and the honor in serving our country.
Well, I'll say this at the end to you, Tiffany. Thank you to you and your entire family for your service. Thanks for coming on with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Tiffany Smiley. Now,